Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing my products I've designed with you and the process through which I designed and created them. So let's get started. Quite a few people have messaged me asking me how I created my deck, how I created my journal, what was the process, how did I make it into an actual product and sell it. And so I thought it'd be really nice to make a video to explain that process if you're somebody who is creative and spiritual and is interested in making your own oracle or tarot deck, and give you kind of a bit of advice on that, and at the same time also introduce you to my products in case you've never heard of them and you are interested to find out more and perhaps purchase them for yourself to use. So my product journey started back in 2016. I was meditating every day, working on balancing my chakras and trying to do something for self-love and self-care every day, whilst maintaining positive self-talk. And I felt as though there were so many different things I was trying to do that it was a bit overwhelming, and sometimes I might miss something out. And so I thought to myself, it would be great if there was a way to combine all of these things. And one day whilst I was meditating, the idea of the Chakra Self-love Deck came through to me in a very clear message, and I thought, oh, it'd be interesting to explore that and look at that. And so after the meditation I sat down, and within about half an hour I'd written all of the 53 affirmations out and assigned them to the different chakras. And it just flew out of me so naturally that I knew it was a process I had to continue and follow and see through to the end. I then went through the process of designing the deck and the colours. I knew I'd want to make the deck quite small so they were easy to shuffle and therefore could be accessible to teenagers or young children. And I also knew that I wanted to keep the design quite simple because I am not an illustrator or an artist, but I am somebody who has a lot of creative ideas. And so I knew I wanted to infuse my energy into it, and I knew I wanted to keep it sleek and simple. So I set about designing them and eventually came up with the idea of a simple heart design on the front. And I knew I wanted it to be quite curvaceous and have a bit of movement and flow within the heart. And also I wanted it to capture and represent all of these 7 main chakra energies. And on the back of the deck, I knew I wanted to have my symbol for my logo, and I knew I wanted to have all the different chakra colours. So then came the question of how would I actually print the deck? And luckily for me, somebody I knew was using a local printers for their business cards. And so I went along to the printer and I said to the manager, is it possible to print off this deck if I give you all the affirmations, if I give you what I'd like it to look like, and the sizes and the stock of the card, everything, and it's just like a business card but a bit bigger. And luckily the manager was really keen to work with me and was really happy to do so, and was a really creative person, so he was very much up for the challenge. So we chose the stock, we chose whether it was matte and whether it was shiny, and the original first few decks I had printed did actually have quite a shiny effect to them. However, as the process went on, I decided I wanted to use recycled card for the stock, and so now they are a lot more matte and they've kind of lost that shine, but I'm okay with that because they've made up for it with being recycled. So it's safe to say that when I went to look at the first prototype, they were obviously not what I had in mind. It's always difficult to capture what somebody else has in their mind's eye and bring it forth, but I really appreciated how hard the manager had tried. So I went home and I painted on a simple piece of A4 paper with the 7 chakra colours the kind of background I was looking for, and I drove it over to the printers and I said, this is more of what I was looking for on the back. And he said, I can just use that, I'll just scan that and use that. And I said, oh, but I haven't really put any thought into it, I just was quickly painting. He said, no, it's fine, it'll work. And so eventually this is the background that we came up with, which I actually love because it goes from this kind of lighter pinky purple all the way through to the more orangey yellow colours. So you can, when you spread the deck and you're about to pick a card, either make it have a more pinky edge or a more orangey edge, depending on which colours you prefer. So again, it's going to cater to everybody. And we also changed the shape of the heart. Originally it was quite neat and it looked as if it had been designed by a computer, whereas this time it's got more of that curvy hand-drawn feeling to it, which I much prefer. And then inside the heart is the affirmation, and it is in the colour of the chakra it's connected to. So once everything was approved, the printer went ahead and started printing out the first few decks, and I had to play with them. This is still my original deck, which is actually one of the first he did. I had to replace the front card, but aside from that, it is the original. And it's really simple and very small cards. As I say, I have small hands, and when I'm shuffling, I don't like holding a huge card. It's really irritating. And so the title card, the Chakra Self-love Deck, on the back has the information of how to use the deck and what's included. I wanted to keep it really simple because it is just an affirmation deck at the end of the day. So the only information you need is how to use it and what's included. It doesn't need a book with all the interpretations because it is what it says on the tin. So let's go through and have a look at a couple of them. And I really enjoyed doing this. By the way, if you're thinking about creating a deck, I highly recommend it because it's a fantastic way to just get your creativity flowing. So this card is connected to the sacral chakra, and it says, I choose a harmonious relationship with myself. I will do some close-ups. And this one is connected to the third eye chakra, and it says, love, compassion, and peaceful thoughts guide me to my higher wisdom. So they're just really simple, loving affirmations that I created or co-created with the universe that help you speak positively to yourself each day. So you can either pick a card each day and say that affirmation throughout the day for yourself. I used to take a photo of the card I'd picked for the day and then put that as the background, the screensaver on my phone, and then I would, every time I looked at my phone, say the affirmation. So it's a really good way to get into that habit of speaking positively to yourself. And why is self-talk important? Well, the way you talk to yourself sets the tone for all of your other relationships. So if you're speaking negatively about yourself, then you're essentially demonstrating to other people that they're allowed to speak negatively back to you. And that's going to set the tone for everything. And therefore you might not feel good about yourself when people speak negatively to you. Perhaps you are not speaking positively and showing them how you would like to be treated. So of course that's really important in terms of self-love. Another way that you can use the deck is you can split it into the 7 chakra colors and then pick one affirmation from each of those and have that for the week ahead, and every day say that weekly affirmation. You could put it on your altar or by your mirror when you're brushing your teeth or brushing your hair or putting your makeup on or choosing an outfit or running out of the house. But that repetition is what's going to change your thought process and help you to think more positively and therefore speak more positively and treat yourself more positively throughout your life. So after I created the deck, a couple of people asked if I would create a journal to go alongside it so that you could use it to make notes on the cards you pulled. And so in 2017 I created the Chakra Self-love Sanctuary, and this is a journal. So again, I designed and painted the cover myself. Inside you have a welcome page and information on how to use the journal. I've also included some extra affirmations. And I've included information on the 7 main chakras for anybody who's new to it or just wants some more concise information. And so I've written the official name of the chakra and the colours that you use. And the reason I designed the journal to be pink is because none of the chakras are pink. I know some people like to think of the heart chakra as being pink, but it is traditionally green, and I wanted to stick with the traditional, more ancient way of looking at chakras, and so I've made the heart chakra green. And therefore, when I was designing the cover, I felt like, what colour isn't there? So I'm not going to be favouring any chakras. So I chose pink, and before that I didn't really like pink very much, but actually since designing the journal I actually became a bit obsessed with pink, to say the least. So if you know me, you know that I love everything pink. And then as you get into the journal, essentially there is a page to put in the affirmation of the card you've picked, and then a page to journal about your feelings. And of course you can use as many pages as you like, but essentially it'd be 1 a day to just concisely write down what that affirmation means to you, how you used it, what feelings and emotions it brought forwards, or if you're finding it easier as you're going through. And I also did it for 100 days worth, because I went on my own 100-day self-love journey in 2016, and it was really transformational for me, so I highly recommend it, and that's another reason why there's 100 pages in this. And with the journal I essentially did the same thing. I painted on a huge A3 sheet of paper what I wanted the cover to look like. I also made a mini kind of notebook where I drew out every single page of what I wanted it to look like, and then I took it to the same printers, because luckily they used to make notebooks as well as business cards, and therefore they were able to print off and create it as an actual book for me, which was amazing and helped me so much. So that is the deck and the journal. Currently I have around 14 decks and I have about 10 journals. So if you've watched this and you've thought, oh, I'd really like to buy a deck and get more into my positive self-talk and affirmations, or learn more about chakras, then anybody who's watching this, I'll offer you a discount, which I'll put in the description box below, which you can use on my Etsy page, which I'll also put a link to below. Because once these sell, that's it. I won't be creating any more for the time being. And when I do, I will be redesigning the deck. Unfortunately, the people I worked with to print this deck didn't have the machine that you need to create rounded edges, and they also didn't have the equipment to create a box to go with the deck. And that is something when I create a deck in the future, or when I redesign this particular deck, I will definitely be looking to work with a company who can create a box, because you need something neat to keep them in. So currently it comes in a lovely bag. However, I would have preferred to have a box. So some things you may wish to take into consideration if you are about to create your own deck is have a really strong and clear idea of what the deck is for and how you'd like it to look. The size, the stock of the card, is the card recycled? Is it matte? Is it shiny? And make sure that you know of somebody you can definitely go to who can create these for you. And there is of course an element of trial and error. I was really lucky that there was only one prototype for my deck, and then after that everything flowed beautifully. However, you might find that the design process might take you a bit longer, or the idea might need extension. I have 53 cards in this deck. Around 40 to 60 is quite an ideal number of cards to have in a deck, excluding either the information card on how to use the deck or the booklet. Any more than that and it could become heavy to post, and of course you'd need to know how much it would cost to post locally and internationally. And then you need to take into consideration your costings. How much is it costing for your design time you're creating, for it to be printed and made? How much is the box costing? How much is it costing you for postage and package? What kind of postage and package would you like to do? Are you going to do tissue paper? Are you going to do colourful ribbons? Will it be in a box? Will it be in a bag? How are you going to send it to the person who's ordered it? And you may also wish to include marketing costs. Will you be paying for Facebook ads, Instagram ads, or will you just be selling it to friends and family initially and then allowing it to spread through word of mouth? And I would say either start off with a small quantity of orders. So for example, the first time I created my deck, I ordered 10 decks because I knew I could easily sell 10 decks to friends or gift them to friends if the worst came to the worst and nobody wanted them. And then after that, then I started to order 40 and 50 sets. So start small and then you can expand. And then once you have all of those things sorted, then you can set up an Etsy page or a website through which you can sell your items. So if you have any questions about creating your own deck, your own journal, or about ordering my deck or my journal, then please do get in touch with me in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in next week's video.